channel and welcome if you're new. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do here. Y'all ignore the life happening in the background. I just film in segments as I can normally when my daughter Willow takes a nap. The video today, I don't even know what to say it's going to be. I think it's going to be like a sourdough review process video. I'm not sure how long I'll drag this out. But I have been looking, if you've been around my channel since the start in 2021, I started trying to do sourdough starter at home myself. And the first 2 times my starter was like perfect. It was thriving, and I think it was both times. It was back when the virus was bad. We got sick and I forgot about it and I couldn't revive it. And then the last time, the third time I tried myself, I grew bacteria in it because I guess maybe the spoon or the jar was a little contaminated. I don't know. I had thought I had boiled them and sterilized them. Anyways, it didn't work. So I had seen a lot of people talk about buying a dehydrated starter from someone that you trust, and I had been following Ballerina Farm over on Instagram for a few years, and I love watching her little cooking reels and stuff, and her food and breads pastry dough products look like perfect. So I finally took the plunge and ordered the kit. So I'm going to show y'all what I got. I also just finished filming a grocery haul, so that's why this is back here. But this is the box. I like that they did like the longer box. It looked a lot nicer opening up. Hold on. I also wanted to mention it was packaged really well. I took the bubble wrap and everything out because I already opened it, but I thought this was also like a sign. I kept contemplating buying it. My daughter's name is Willow and her starter's name is Willa, so I thought that was cute. So this is the starter. I'm not sure how many grams is in here, but I want to say she gives enough that you don't need, like you could make more than one starter. And then she sends a instructional paper, and then your little packing slip. Mine says it was packed by Annie. And then the WEC jar for starter, which I really like this jar. I don't guess I've ever seen these. And it's got like the little gasket and everything if you want to use that. I do have a jar I was using for sourdough, but I'm going to use this one. And then the little card. This is cute to throw in. And then just the paper. So right now I'm actually headed to the shower really quick to get that out of the way while Willow is down. And then I think when I come out, I'm going to start my starter. So it says for day 1, I need my flour, room temperature water. If you're on city water, of course, use bottled water. I did know that. I'm going to combine 5 grams of the starter in a glass jar and add 50 grams of water. Stir until completely submerged in water. Allow it to sit for a few minutes to absorb the water. Next, add 20 grams of flour and stir until well mixed. It says, note, we're using slightly more water than flour in this first feeding. A more hydrated starter allows for the yeast to develop bacteria faster. Cover with a lid and store at room temperature for 24 hours. So, I'm going to wash my jar really good. And I'm trying to, I think you transfer to another jar. Anyways, I'll store in this jar. And I think I'm going to sit it on my plant shelf over here facing the window because I think that's the warmest spot. That I'm going to try to remember to show y'all when I do that because I want to document it. So I think this is going to be like my review and like the 10-day process, maybe my first loaf of bread. We'll see. I'm really hoping this works. I've got high hopes for it. Okay, it's the next day because yesterday I just didn't feel like doing this. So this is actually day 1 for my starter. So I've got my jar. I sterilized really good. Last time I think I got bacteria in my sourdough starter, maybe because I didn't clean the jar as good, but I took time doing it, so I don't honestly know. So I scalded this out really good and washed the spoons and let them dry really well. Another random thing I done was, it's better to have warm water, but I didn't actually want to microwave it or anything, so I just took a pot of warm water instead of bottled water in it, and that should make it warm enough. Okay, so we need 5 grams of starter. Got it open here. we get it. Our floor is uneven and it makes the scale bounce back and forth, but I think that's like 5 on the dot. And then we need 50 grams of water. So I hope I can get this right. I'm trying to get this, I got it right on the dot. I'm trying to get this perfect because I don't want to mess it up. And then it says to stir really good until the starter is completely submerged in water. I'm going to be sure I scrape all these little particles down in there. Okay, so I've got it pretty much liquefied, and you're supposed to wait a few minutes for that to hydrate really well. Also, I mentioned I cleared a spot over here on my plant shelf. I'm going to keep my jar at, it's about 73 to 74 degrees most days. I put this thermometer here just to get an idea. Our house is pretty cold, but I figure that's fairly warm, and the sun coming in at some point might make it warm. Might end up having to move it around and find a warmer spot, but this is where we're going to try first. Okay, it sat for a minute and it looks well hydrated. I mixed it to the best that I can. It says next add 20 grams of flour, stir until well mixed. You want all-purpose unbleached flour or bread flour. And the last recipe I had for the past 3 starters had me use like whole wheat bread flour. So this is a little different, hoping that this one will work better. I gotta get 20 grams, and that might be a little much. Oof, 21.65. Like I was saying, this floor is unlevel and it messes me up, but I think that's okay. So now I'm gonna stir this up. I might take just a little bit off to make sure I got 20 on the dot. Mix this well. I've also heard wooden utensils are better than metal. So this time I'm trying to only stir it with the wooden one. And she also sells like a wooden stirrer thing with hers that she recommends. And I like the way it looks, but I was trying to get just the starter and use what I already had. And then you place your lid back over it, but don't actually seal it. This is what it looks like. This is day 1 of rehydrating. And then I'm going to set it over here in this hopefully warm enough spot. It says it's 74. Ideal temp is like 76 to 78. But I'm thinking this is about as warm as I got. So we'll see. Let's hope it works. Okay, now we are on day 2. This is 24 hours after we have mixed it originally. This is what it looks like. You can see a little bit of the liquid is separated to the top. And it's already got a little bit of that sour smell to it, which is great. So we're going to take, let's see, we're going to take 10 grams of this out and put it in a clean jar, and then add 25 grams of flour and 25 grams of water. Cover this and let it sit for another 24 hours. Hard to do one-handed. So 10 grams, 11-ish. I want to try to keep this super exact to know that I've done each step right. It's 10. Now I'm going to add 20 grams of flour again. Yeah, 20 grams? No, 25 grams. I think I said 20. I feel like I picked too small of a jar. Gonna have to keep my eye on it. Okay, there's 25 grams. And then 25 grams of water. Again, I've been warming my tap water up with a hot bowl of water and just sticking the bottle in it to make sure it's warm, because my house is fairly cold most of the summer. It's pretty close. And I'm just gonna stir it together, and I always scrape the sides down. I'm just going to lay the lid on top, not close it. I'm just going to sit this back up here. The temperature up here has been being like 70 to 73. I just kind of like knowing with that. So I'll remember to show y'all day 3. Day 3 is literally the same thing again. Day 4 is the same thing. And then day 4 in the evening, you're supposed to notice a difference. By day 5, it's supposed to be significant. So I'll pick back up tomorrow. Day 3, feeding again, same process all over again, nothing new, but it was absolutely like bubbly and perfect, starting to get that good smell to it, so I'm super excited. I think this is going to work out really good. Day 5, I believe, and my starter is definitely active, and the little info thing said like you'll notice finally like bubbles popping at the top, meaning that it is active. So this one doesn't really have as many. The smell and the smell and appearance is there, but it did not like puff up this time, even though I put it like in the microwave to sit because it was pretty warm. And I'm guessing it's because our house is so stinking cold right now, because during the summer we try to like keep it at 1 temp and leave it there so that it stays cold throughout the day. So it says day 5 you can start baking with it, but for mine, looking at it, judging, knowing how that works, I'm going to give it a few more days. So I'm going to go ahead and do the discard again. Save 10 grams of it, feed 25 flour, 25 water. I warm my water first, and then I think I'm gonna maybe like bump the air down 1 degree, and I don't know, try to find a spot that's warmer for it to sit. So very random, but I was thinking, since my starter needs a warmer environment and I really don't have anywhere else in the house, like because we have the open floor plan, I only have that one window over there. I don't have like a hotter spot that I can sit it, so this is probably funny. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this, but when we were growing up and we had like a earache or something, my mom would make us a rice sock, and she would literally take a sock that didn't have holes in it, put some rice in it, heat it in the microwave, and the smell even is like kind of comforting childhood thing. Let me know if you've ever heard or done this, but she would give it to us, and like we could like lay on it because the heat. I'm just gonna say this works better than a lot of things. So I happen to think I'm gonna make one of these and heat it up and just set it on the shelf near it to generate some heat. I think it's gonna work. My little thermometer over there says it's 72 right now. So it says 72. I'm literally just going to kind of, this is a clean sock, of course. I'm just going to kind of set it near it because it's already putting heat off. Right now it's 72.3. I bet this is going to help. Okay, so I've propped it kind of behind it. So right now 72.3. So I think today is actually day 6, and you're supposed to start on day 5 feeding more in larger quantities, but I did one extra day of just the 10 grams of starter with 25 water, 25 flour. But today, day 6, I'm going to start with the 30 grams of starter, 125 water, and 140 flour. So I'm thinking this jar might end up being obviously too small, but I'm trying to get 2 starters going where I can have a second one. And I thought through the process, if one failed, that I would still have some, and I still have plenty left in my pack. But I'm just going to mix these, and then I'll mark my lines again to show y'all. So this will be the first time doing a large feed, and it says at this point that it's okay to bake with, but I'm going to wait. So I got 30 grams of starter in each jar. Now I'm going to do 125 grams of water. I've been doing the same thing, heating a bowl of water, sticking my bottle of water in it just to warm it up. I guess just turn my scale on. Yeah, 125 is what I need. Now 140 grams of flour. You're increasing your flour because at this point it's going to eat more, so you need more, and that other jar is definitely way too small. So this spare jar is definitely too small. I'm not even going to chance it because there's like not even a third of the jar room, and supposedly it's going to triple in size, because these, I have a feeling, possibly might even bubble over. But I'm going to go ahead and put it, I don't even know what size this is. I can't remember my jar sizes. I'm going to put it in this one. Should have mixed it in this jar. So we are on day, shoot, I don't know why I don't ever figure this out before I start. I think day 7. And my sourdough starter is like, shoot, we've been outside this morning. Totally random, but we had a, TV just started playing. We had a little so-called cold snap in Louisiana, also known as we've been 104, and it's 89 today. So we took advantage and spent the morning outside. Willow's taking her nap right now, and then we're gonna go back out in a little bit. But anyways, so because it hasn't been quite as hot, I've had my air on like 70 to 71, and then my thermometer over here that I'm using to measure the temp right now says 72.5, and I think for sourdough starter the ideal temp is 72, or hold on, 76 to 82 or something like that. But I don't know, like I told y'all my little so-called sock trick here where I was doing like the rice sock, but I can't put it too close because it's creating a lot of humidity, and I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this. I'll show y'all. The sun's kind of blocking it, but obviously we have sweat in the jars. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't want to make like a pile or a puddle, a pile. But you can see my marks on the jars, and I know like it inflates, deflates, whatever, but I don't, or I'm not using the right words, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But it smells good. It has that good sourdough smell, and I mean, it's got some bubbles, which, you know, of course means it's living, whatever, but I don't know. I'm thinking my house needs to be warmer, so I would sit it outside, but I'm scared the ants will get it because we are having a horrible year with ants. But I'm just showing y'all because I wanted to like be realistic and show all of this, because I don't even know, like it may turn out to be a flop, but just to show like this, honestly, I think this has been my biggest struggle with sourdough, and I think it's all because my house is too cold. And even though I stick it in warm spots, I've tried the oven, the microwave, by a window, all that. I've even set it on the dryer before. But I wanted to show y'all that because I don't know, it may turn out fine. Like if it looks like this and does this, and then like the bread is off the chain, then I'll know it doesn't really matter. Also, if I go to bake with it and it doesn't turn out, I'm gonna know that this is probably my problem. So what I think I'm gonna do now, because it is, I'm always looking for a clock. It's 12:20 right now. So it's been 24 hours and it's time to feed it. So I'm going to do that. This is day 7. This will be the 7th, or day 6, and it's the 7th feeding. Whatever. This is the 7th feeding. But I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm so scared the ants are going to get it, but I think since it's in the 80s today and not like triple digits, which we're going back to starting tomorrow, unfortunately, I think I'm going to maybe like, I don't know, maybe like on the grill. I'll like, because we have the tray in front, sit it there and let it sit in the heat a minute right after feeding, and just remember and keep my eye on it. I hope it doesn't get ants in it, but I don't think if I can get it to, you know, perk up within the next few days, I'm really wanting to bake with it. I didn't purchase her cookbook. She does have a cookbook for her sourdough because it was only like $12, which wasn't bad. It's just a little paper book, but at the time that I placed my order, it was out of stock, so I couldn't get it. Sure enough, the day that it delivers, she posts online and says that it's available, and they also have the digital copy for like $10. And I would have just ordered the cookbook, but it was $12 plus 8 shipping, and I couldn't push myself to do shipping again. But this is probably the most chit chat you'll get out of me on this vlog, but I wanted to be quite detailed and explain myself because I haven't actually vlogged a lot the past 2 weeks or so. A lot of times what I do is I'll have like a 2-day span and I'll get like 4 vlogs done, and then I don't for a while. But I wanted to be thorough on this, even for my sake, where I can look back if there's an issue or something, and I can see where I went wrong, or even like you guys can suggest to me if you see something. This is a half-gallon jar, by the way. It's a canister with a lid. I want to say it was like $5 or so. I think this was a good jar for this. And I'm going to use my dry erase marker. So during this process, there were a few days that I didn't actually like record because it was just the same old thing over and over. And I didn't want to have an hour-long vlog, but I did want to be quite thorough. So I'm also adding at the end the outcome of like when I bake with it and all. But this is day 8. Everything was pretty much the same. But I do know that it seems like most people said, and also on the paper that came with it, by this point you should have had an active enough starter to bake with it. So at this point I was kind of questioning if everything was going to be able to work out with doing the ratio that was suggested. And I end up explaining most of the time like where I changed different things. All in all, I would recommend her starter. I think it is really good. It tastes really good. It works out in the end, I promise, but I'll just kind of explain along the way how I ended up having to change some things and not do it exactly how the paper that come in the kit said. I think I'm on day 10 or 11 for my sourdough starter, and yesterday and day before that, I felt like by then it should have been like doubling in size, and it wasn't. And I didn't record then because it was kind of the same process. I was feeding and watering and all that and keeping the 30 grams. I'm not sure what ratio it was, but just following the instructions in the Ballerina farm kit. And I was not seeing any activity like I thought I should, and I thought it was kind of weird that the amount of starter that you start with each day is only 30 grams, and then it's like 135 water, 145 flour. But anyways, I reached out to my friend Amanda on Facebook, who does sourdough and all the bread stuff, and I knew she would probably have tips for me. And she agreed that she thought that that was too little starter. So she said she does a 1-1-1 ratio. So like right now I'm doing, I think it's 145 flour or whatever. So I'm going to try doing 145 grams of starter or 135, probably 135 of starter water flour. And going to see if that will perk it up because I've been keeping the temperature warm. Funny enough, I've been keeping it on the dryer a lot. And when I've got the dryer running, it is optimal temperature. And also, I have set it outside on the days where we had a little bitty cold snap. And by cold, I mean 86 degrees. But I'm going to try that ratio and just see if it works. Because I was hoping this weekend that I could try baking with it. But since it wasn't ready, I didn't do it. I'm going to do that now. And I will let y'all see what it looks like, I guess, between tonight and tomorrow. Probably tomorrow is when I figure it will perk up. But I'm really hoping that's the only thing. Because I feel like it smells good. It has a good texture to it. The bubbles are showing, and I'm just needing to see that it's actually like more active and bubbling. So I'm gonna go try that right quick, and I'll show y'all later. Okay, I said that wrong. I'm gonna do 125 of water, starter, and flour, and see what that does, because this is what it looks like today, and you can see the bubbles and everything, and it smells good like sourdough, but it's just not doing what it's supposed to. And I think it's because it doesn't have enough like potency, because it doesn't have enough starter. So this is my larger jar I'm using, and I'm just going to weigh it out in there, and then I'm still using my little thermostat thing that I prop beside it, so hopefully that will help. I also did end up getting these little wood things from Hobby Lobby, because I do feel like it's necessary to scrape the jars, because the spoon doesn't work that good. So I kind of wish I had bought the one that they sell with this kit, but I was trying not to spend money. So I did get these for about $6 for a 3-pack from Hobby Lobby, but they were the last pack. And I don't feel like they're as good of quality probably as the Ballerina Farm ones, but it's been working pretty well. So here's where I've been having it sit on my dryer, and I don't have like a rubber band or anything large enough to go around most of my jars, so I've been using this dry erase marker, which I feel like is a good tip because everybody uses a rubber band. And I just try to mark like all the high and low sides of starter, and then prop my little thermometer right there. So I forgot to vlog the past 2 days, but I left off with telling y'all that I was doing the equal amounts of starter to flour and water ratio, and I was just about to pour. That's why it looks like this, but I'm so excited. This is the first day. It was about an inch or more above this line, and this probably happened around the 20-hour mark, and a friend of mine told me you want to see it double in size by about the 6 to 8 hour mark. But it's also, there's a train going by, of course. I don't know if y'all can even tell, it's so bubbly, and it has like that good fresh sour smell, if that makes sense. It smells really good, like it actually smells like sourdough, and I'm so excited. There's bubbles all the way through it, like really good ones, and this actually looks like the starter that I see in Ballerina Farm videos cooking. Like it's got that good stretch to like where the bubbles hold, if that makes sense, which means that it's, you know, souring really good. So anyways, I didn't vlog the past few days, but I've just been swapping back between my clean jars and doing 125 grams of starter, 125 grams of warm bottled water, and 125 grams of the all-purpose unbleached flour. So this is the method that's worked for me thus far, after I asked my Facebook friend for tips on it. So I would recommend, if you end up purchasing this kit, I know this is probably a longer video, but I really wanted to kind of detail how I explained to y'all, because I felt like nobody really done that for me to some degree. But this is how I would recommend doing it, because you can totally see the consistency is so much better in everything, because the Ballerina Farm instructions recommends 30 grams of starter and then 125 flour and 125 water, and that just wasn't working for me. So I would recommend equal parts, or a 1-1-1 ratio. That's what was recommended me, and that's what's working. So I will try to remember tomorrow whenever I feed it again to show y'all, and then obviously I'm going to show the end result, and I'm hoping maybe it'll take off well enough that, I don't know, maybe like Sunday or Monday I could try baking with it. But I'm so excited. I'm about to feed it again, and I'll pick up with you guys, I guess, tomorrow night during the feed. So today is day 18, and I'm finally starting to see it almost double. I've been keeping it warmer by sitting it over here by the stove whenever I'm making dinner, and you can see that the bubbles are slowly increasing. You do want to see larger bubbles throughout it as well, but it's definitely perking up a good bit, and the heat has helped it a lot. I don't vlog every single day throughout this process. I just try to remember here and there. Today is day 19. Y'all pardon my dirty stove. I cooked like 5 things. I'm still using this to kind of help me with the temp. I had a friend tell me that she doesn't even worry about the temp with hers, that it just does well. But I'm just trying to make sure like I do everything possible to know that I've done what I can. That way I can troubleshoot if I have issue. At this point, some people already have used theirs, but mine is just taking a while to take off. But as you can see, it's still got very good bubbly look to it. And this is almost considered double in size, but this is that larger jar that I use just because this is what I had along with the other one because you swap to a clean jar every day. And I've been using the dry erase marker still to mark, but you can see like I had a lower point where I had mixed it and a higher point. So like it looks good and the texture is much improved. It smells really good, sour smelling, but it's not quite there yet. My friend had advised me that I could go ahead and bake with it. It would just make like a really dense loaf. Y'all excuse the repeated sweatshirt. And this is one I clean in all the time, but I come in here to film this because I'm about to go get in the shower, and I think I'm going to work on another vlog and clean the house during nap time today. But I just wanted to share that because I haven't vlogged the past few days, simply because it's literally just been consecutively the same feed, temperature, all that. When I was cooking yesterday, I did set it near the stove, but I don't leave it on it because I don't want to actually bring the temperature so high that it cooks it. So I have tried to keep it warm and keep my eye on that. But someone said that it can take several weeks for it to get up and flourishing. I wanted to say that because I've skipped the past few days, and when I'm editing this, I also don't want to confuse myself with what was going on. But this is day 19 now. I've been feeding it 9 p.m. because whenever I get ready to make bread, I have a recipe that I've written down that I got on Pinterest, but when I get ready to do that, after you mix it together, you let it sit for 10 hours. So, or 8 hours, I think. So I've been feeding it 9 to 10 p.m. That way, when I get ready to do that, I keep having a pause. But then I can mix it at night and then let it rise overnight and bake with it the next morning. So day 19, same thing. I'm sure day 20, 21, maybe a little while after that will be the same as well. I don't know what today is as far as on my sourdough starter. I think I got it August, first or second week of August is when I started. And today is February, oh my gosh. Today is September 25th. So it took a while for it to perk up. This is what it looks like about 12 hours before a feed. This is actually my discard. I'm going to try a recipe that I will link in the description for some sourdough discard biscuits. And I baked a loaf of bread with it a few weeks ago, and let's just say it was hilarious. I don't think I updated on that, but if I still have the picture, I'll throw it up. Needless to say, the taste was excellent, but you could have bricked a house with it because it did not have enough rising time. But it was so dense because it didn't proof long enough, because I followed someone's recipe and I asked a friend of mine and she was like, oh no, you're going to have to let it rise or proof whatever for a longer time. So my next time I'm going to try proofing it, I think for 3 days, but I'm feeding it now and literally just continuing the exact same method that I've been doing, where I do the 1-1-1 ratio. So I'm going to feed this, and then I'm going to let it rise throughout the day. And then I'm going to try this recipe I found for sourdough discard biscuits. I'm sure Michael will very much approve. Also, y'all will have seen this at this point, since I will have like my fall decorating. I still have not touched this paint up, where I steamed something on the back burner and peeled the paint off the wall. But it's whatever. Looks like a vintage farmhouse, right? But this was my birthday present I picked. My mom got me something for my birthday, and I wanted this bread box, and I really love it. I think just seeing the bread and stuff just looks really nice and has like that country farmhouse look to it. But I'm hoping once I get this bread going that this will mostly be stocked with stuff that I'm baking. I'm not going to show me cooking this. I'll show you how it turns out, and then I'll put the recipe link in the description. Actually, you know what? It was a person on Instagram. So either way, I'll put the information in the description box, and you can go check it out if you want that recipe. Hopefully it turns out good. My starter had a very good taste to it when I made the first loaf. Was not a loaf of bread, but the texture and everything was off. So I'm going to attempt mixing bread. I'm thinking, let's see, tomorrow's Tuesday. So either Tuesday or Wednesday night. I just have to let it proof in the fridge, and then I would be able to bake it this weekend. So I'm working on the sourdough discard biscuits. About to mix the butter in, and then I'll mix in the discard and the milk, and then we'll bake. don't know what actual day, like, number this is for the sourdough starter. It is September 29th. And I think I started it August, the second week of August, I think. So we're about, I know we're at least at the 6-week mark. And I mentioned that I've literally just continually been doing the same thing after I changed about halfway through, and I showed y'all that I've been doing the 1-1-1 ratio. But I have been following this page on Instagram, and I have seen other people say this, and also a friend told me that maybe I needed to change the starter ratio up and down depending. And the feedback that I'm seeing is that mine is not rising, like, it's not doubling, and it's not doubling in the right time frame. So it's getting close to double. It's about like if the jar is like this, and then it rises about a full rise is about that much more, so it's right under double. But it needs to be more than that, obviously, to be really yeasty or active, I guess is the word I'm looking. I'm sorry, y'all, it's late and I'm tired, but I'm trying to remember to do this because it's also going to be easy for me to go back and watch. And if someone asked me a question, I figured this would be a good reference versus trying to remember what I've done, since this is obviously a longer process. Anyways, I think what I need to do is do a 1-2-2 ratio. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is do 70 grams of starter, and then 140 water and 140 flour. This is what it looks like right now at the 12-hour mark. So you can see that it was about to here, and it's fallen just a little. But it's obviously very active and like happy, so to speak, because it's very bubbly and it has active bubbles on top, and the smell is that really good deep sour smell. And I've been keeping it in the microwave, and it's been, like, this says 70, but it's been having about a, I'd say 75 to 82 temp, so the perfect temp for it. It's just not quite as bubbly as I want. So I am planning to mix this up. I'm going to use my larger jar to do this right now, just because that's what's clean, because I've not done the kitchen yet this evening. I'm really tired and had a long day. So I'm going to try this 1-2-2 ratio. This is Friday night, and I'm thinking I'll do it tonight, Saturday night, Sunday night, and maybe Monday night. And then Tuesday I want to mix, I think that's the day. Tuesday I want to mix bread dough up because I want to try a loaf again. Okay, so today is October 18th. I'm kind of losing my voice, but I'm not sick. And I have sourdough loaves. This is the baking day, and I've just been letting them come to room temp over here. And I think they're ready to bake. I'm not sure, but let me turn the flash on. I read a thing that said to take a floured thumb and press, and if it springs back slowly, that means that it is ready. If it doesn't spring back, it's overproofed, which means it's set too long. And I think if it holds it, it's underproofed. So I'm gonna try right quick. I just washed my hands really good too. Okay, I floured my thumb, and let's see, I'm supposed to just kind of push. See, mine's kind of formed a crust, so I'm gonna get down here at the side. I feel like that is slowly springing back, but this is just slightly a bit dry. Here's a wet spot. This is a wet spot. I can't hardly talk, y'all. I think it's good. I don't know. This is my second time baking loaves. The first time I told y'all how that was. So I'm going to see how it goes, and I will show y'all the update in a little bit. Oh my gosh, come on now. Oh, this isn't working. There we go. So I'm not confident in the fact that it's not super like puffy risen, but I still think it's going to be way better than my first attempt. I'm going to try to manage to figure out how to get this out of the oven, because I preheated my Dutch oven and onto the counter and actually film this because I don't have my tripod out right now. Smoke alarm goes off, I'm dead because everybody is asleep but me right now. So I got it in the oven. Y'all pardon the door. I cleaned my oven in at the end of August, right before we got sick, and it is October, so 2 months ago. Have hardly used it, and the oven cleaner cooked on there. I can't hardly get it off, so I guess I'm gonna have to get some vinegar or something after it one day. I'm out of breath, like losing my voice and out of breath. I guess it's just allergies. But I don't think I will include the recipe for this because I don't know how well it'll turn out. But this was kind of just like an overall vlog to review the starter and also just get some tips. We'll see how this turns out. So I'm going to do 24 minutes covered and then 20 to 30 minutes uncovered depending. And then I'm doing one loaf at a time because I only have one cast iron Dutch oven. Lost the word there for a second. I do have a glass dish, and I heard someone say that you can do that and it works just fine, but I think for the first time I'm just going to stick with the Dutch oven just to see. And by doing one loaf at a time, I can kind of see like my design, even if I want to do it different. But it's in the oven and I'm hoping it turns out good. I'll show y'all the end result of this. And then even if this loaf doesn't turn out that well, I'm going to end the vlog with this one simply because, like I mentioned, I started this vlog back at the beginning of August. So this was definitely a process, and I have like 5 or 6 vlogs right now on my phone that I have not edited. So if you have any questions or if I forget to leave links in my description box, you can comment and I'll put them on there. I did mention my friend Amanda helped me out a lot, so I can't really link her. She doesn't have a channel or anything. She is on Instagram. I will see about linking her, I guess. And then you can look up Acts of Sourdough. She's also on Instagram and working on a website. And I got a lot of tips from her. And that's where the sourdough discard biscuit recipe is from. And I'm also going to try a few more of those at some point. I might share those in vlogs. I don't know. I'm very busy lately, or just feeling like spending time with family, not really wanting to be on my phone. Y'all, I am literally ecstatic over a loaf of bread. It is perfect. It's like, let me turn the flash on. I don't know if you can see, it got such a good rise, and like it has a crust. My design even came out pretty well. The bottom is still kind of hot for me to touch. Well, I did the pan under the Dutch oven method and then lined with the parchment paper inside, but I just honestly can't believe how perfect this came out. I'm so excited. I waited for, there is my timer. So I did end up doing I did 25 minutes with the lid on and about 22-ish minutes with the lid off, and it was perfect. So now I'm going to move on to the second loaf, and I think I'm going to do a little bit better of a design, but I'm literally so excited over here. It seems so silly because it's just bread, but I have been like on this bread mission for so long. I know like during all that happened in 2020 and everything, that everyone seemed to start like bread making and sourdough and all that, but I can remember when I was a little girl and my mom was teaching us to cook, and she asked us to tell her things that we wanted to learn how to cook. One of the first things I mentioned was bread, and I thought bread would be the easier thing, and she was telling me, she was like, you know, that's one of your harder things to do, but she pulled me up a recipe and helped me with it. That did not turn out great, but I've tried several throughout like my marriage and adult life, and some were good, but I just really love sourdough bread, and it's kind of expensive at the store, so I just never buy it. And I've been on a mission to master it myself, and I started in 2021 during the fall, excuse me, and then last year, and I never even got to bake with it those years because it didn't work. So I will say I didn't give up. Like the first time I made it, it was horrible, and I asked my friend Amanda, about a couple of tips, and she told me the biggest one was that it needed to sit. So I let mine, after I mixed my bread dough up, after the starter had been fed and had risen really good, I mixed it up, made my loaves, put it in the bannettons, and put it in my refrigerator for 3 days. And then on the third day I pulled it out and let it rise on the counter covered for, I'm gonna say probably 8 or 9 hours. And then I showed y'all like the thumb method to see if it bounced back or whatever. And then I just kind of explained quickly how I cooked it. So I didn't do anything special. The only thing was, in the past I really doubted myself because my starter did not completely double. Like, I was seeing pictures of people with starter that doubled like in volume and then some, and even was like bubbling out of the top and all that. Mine has never done that. It would get right under double, or maybe like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain the ratio, but like if it started off like this, it would never like double. It would be about that much more. I'm getting kind of tongue-tied. I had to stop. I kept thinking maybe it's not ready, but obviously it's been 8 weeks or more, so it had to be ready. I think I proved my point to myself that it is. So if your starter isn't doubling, but you know you're like 6 weeks into it, I would say just try baking with it. Mine came out perfect, and I didn't do anything special. I didn't like vlog the whole process, but I did dedicate a 2-month span of time to this so that I could also look back on it myself. But thank y'all for watching this. Celebrate with me and bake a loaf of bread.